Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Advanced figure preview video. Now before we begin, I do have to say a massive thank you as always to Ryan Kirkwood for going out in person and snapping these gorgeous high-res pics. Show Ryan some love in the comments below because without him, this series literally wouldn't be possible. When Friendly Neighbourhood Spider-Man does go up for pre-order, I will pop the link in the description below to toyswonderland.com. They have 12-month installment plans and a points-based reward system. We will also do a brand new proper figure preview video, as I assume he'll be coming with some accessories as these figures tend to do, as well as, hopefully, a Tobey Maguire head sculpt. Now, the reason I wanted to do this video now is because, yeah, I love this version of Spidey. I grew up watching the Tobey Maguire Spidey films, so long story short, I was just really excited. And this figure does look like a significant upgrade over the Spider-Man 3 version. I still really like that one, and there are a couple of things that one potentially did slightly better. But in saying that, overall this looks like the superior version. Now, was I the only one who didn't know that this was called Friendly Neighbourhood Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield's Spidey was called Amazing Spider-Man? I guess that one makes sense, but as you can see, on the front they very clearly labelled it Friendly Neighbourhood Spider-Man. Up on top it's branded as Spidey No Way Home, which in and of itself is rather interesting, considering the Amazing Spider-Man 2 figure is branded as Amazing Spider-Man 2. Some people have been frustrated with that because up on top on the base it says TASM 2. For me, I'm actually perfectly fine with it, because the Spidey symbol is still smack bang in the middle. One thing that plagued early Hot Toys figures such as Man of Steel Superman and some Thor figures, as well as Spidey from Spider-Man 3, were broken and loose ankle joints. Now Hot Toys have gotten way better at that, and I don't think we've had that issue for a number of years now. So I'm looking forward to having a classic Sam Raimi red and blue suit Spidey that's actually able to stand on his own. It does sound kinda ridiculous to say that, but no, in all seriousness, my original really can't. He has to solely rely on his display base. Speaking of the original, they have made a change that some people aren't super happy about. The blue sections of the suit with the OG were all fabric, whereas here, you can very clearly tell it's that screen-printed rubbery material. It looks really good, the light bounces off it beautifully, and the texture on the surface is actual 3D texture. But now, unfortunately, this could crack and crease and peel and stick to itself over time. I love the fabric of the original, but this one does have the superior look in my opinion. Do weigh in though down in the comments below. He does still have the massive red Spidey logo on the back and a much smaller one around the front. I love the really stark contrast between the beautiful deep rich blue and the vibrant red. That's another thing that happened to plague the original. The red started to fade, and when it faded, it kind of looked like this really dingy red material. I'm hoping this one doesn't have the same issue, but at the very least, the red does appear to be all fabric with the web lines glued on the surface. Another very important and very good change is the abs are now fully shaded. In the original films, he did have a little bit of padding, but they did accentuate that with some airbrushing on the surface. And it appears that's exactly what they've done here. And being a modern-day Spidey figure, they've included some of the modern-day advancements like they've done with the Tom Holland releases. On the palm, there looks to be a seam and a swap-out piece, so you can remove that, then plug in the little web spool so the web can attach directly to his palm, rather than with the original where you had this little metal disc that slid over his wrist peg. It was super fiddly and not ideal whatsoever. This is a much better way of doing it, and I'm glad they're using it here for the Friendly Neighbourhood Spidey. This shot right here, though, does have me a little bit worried. One of the super annoying things with the Spider-Man 3 version was that the mask wasn't actually glued under his chin. So that means when he was looking up, you didn't really have any chin definition whatsoever. It kind of looked like a sock over his head sculpt. Go ahead and check out my review of the original if you want to see what I'm talking about. But here, I am also starting to see that that chin material isn't glued at all. You can also see a very prominent seam on his forehead, and the web lines aren't super well aligned. Then again, this is a prototype, stuff is subject to change, but we will have to wait and see. It also appears as though the neck is a separate attachment, just like we saw with TASM 2. That could mean that you can remove the neck entirely, pop the head sculpt on for Tobey Maguire, and you have a half-suited neck and a half-unmasked neck. That's the ideal situation and what I'm hoping for. It's just a much more realistic look, and something I'm hoping they do on Tom Holland Spidey figures going forward. Yes, you can see the seam, it's not perfect, but if they were able to use that in one of the webline sections, it could be disguised even better. I wouldn't be surprised if when this guy is up for pre-order and when the final product starts shipping, that is tightened up a lot better. The lenses for the eyes have some texture in it, they look really good, except I do have one complaint. Not everyone is likely to agree with me here, but I specifically remember the lens surround sections that are quite clearly black here on the prototype were gunmetal in the films. Now, I could be misremembering, it's been a while since I've sat down and watched the Sam Raimi trilogy, and I know the suits changed from film to film, but that's one detail that I think was rather consistent between the variations of the Spidey suit. Once again, I turn the question over to you. Do you prefer black lens surrounds for that really stark contrast, or do you prefer gunmetal? As a whole, as I said earlier, I still really like this figure. It does seem to be a significant upgrade over the Spider-Man 3 version. He's been a long time coming. I really like the choice of body. It's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit bulkier. It very clearly evokes the look of Sam Raimi's Spidey. Now, if, and hopefully when, this guy goes up for pre-order, I will pop the link to Toys Wonderland in the description below. They have 12-month installment plans and a points-based reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe and bell notification icon? Also check out the join button for Justin's Collection Plus if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.